Welcome, everyone, to the Fantasy Football Factory podcast as we look ahead to a big Thanksgiving week. We're also going to recap kind of I don't even know how to describe, a really wild Sunday night game.
Yep.
A couple of duds. You know, it was like everybody was so hyped about the Cowboys-Chiefs, and it ended up being a dud, but then all hell broke loose in the Steelers-Chargers game. We are sponsored by our good friends at Miller Lite. Great tasting, less filling, only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. A lot of Miller times in the Sunday night game. That's all hell broke loose in that one. I'm your host, Ben Mintz, joined as always by our other host, Steven Cheah. How are you doing today, Mr. Cheah?
Doing great. Sunday night was absolutely crazy. It was everything that we hoped Cowboys-Chiefs would be, but on like kind of a lower scale due to the teams, but still incredible game. We'll talk about the Fantasy Football Factory parlay in a moment, but first, Miller Lite, the absolute best. Since 1975, Miller Lite has been the beer with taste you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. People like you and your friends, and whether you're in person or not, you can count on Miller Lite to bring you and your friends together for Miller time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. So to go to MillerLite.com/fantasy to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up Miller Lite wherever you get beer. It is always Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories, 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Couple of huge storylines to get to. We're just going to go ahead and start. Jonathan Taylor. Holy freaking crap. 32 carries, 185 yards. 5 touchdowns?
5 total, 4 rushing, 1 through the air. I mean, wow.
All-time performance from Jonathan Taylor. And a clip resurfacing of the Fantasy Football Factory pod. So what was interesting, though, Shay, was last year he started slow and came on and was one of the top guys at the end of the year. And he's just a slow starter, I guess, because he had the awful September. October 1st, we had a clip saying, were we panicking about him? And since then, he's only the number 1 running back in fantasy now because Derrick Henry's hurt. But phenomenal effort by him and the Colts. Massive win in Buffalo. Thoughts on Jonathan Taylor turning it around?
I mean, he was incredible. He started the year. So to give people perspective, and obviously our buddy Big Cat retweeted it after the 4th touchdown. He had a tough start to the season. 17 carries, 56 yards. He did have 60 receiving, so a good game in the first week. But then fewer carries, 15 for 51, and then 10 for 64. Nyheim Hines was getting a lot of run, so it was a legitimate question 3 weeks into the year. If you'd spent a mid-first round pick on Jonathan Taylor, were you regretting it? Did you potentially think about moving? Overall, the consensus, I think, was no at the time, but there were certainly signs to worry. Quentin Nelson had just gotten hurt, and in that game, I believe, was carted off. He ended up being fine. He got hurt again yesterday, which is certainly worrisome. But overall, I mean, Jonathan Taylor is an absolute beast. He's been the most consistent guy, really, week to week as a touchdown scorer. Him and Najee Harris almost every week, I feel like, are punching in the paint. So, yeah, certainly that take looks terrible on, what's today, November 22nd, 23rd. And he's RB1, despite even the early season troubles, and hopefully held on to him. I feel like that clip was a little bit taken out of context.
Of course, but that's Barstool. Everything always gets taken out of context. It was, look, Carson Wentz was banged up starting the year. Quentin Nelson was out. You know, Wentz getting hurt. They started 1-4.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff going against him. But the thing was, and then what ultimately, it was hard. You couldn't really panic and trade him because his value was too low.
Yeah.
So hopefully you held on to him, but just phenomenal effort by him. And I mean, he carried. I mean, if you played against Jonathan Taylor yesterday, you didn't win.
I actually did see.
You did?
Yeah. Somebody sent me a graphic where they played against Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler and lost. Or no, they had Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler and lost.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I mean, Austin Eckler also an incredible performance. He's moved into he's ahead of Derrick Henry, who's obviously injured, but he's now RB2. So we got 1-2. Obviously, yesterday helped both of their scores, but 1-2 in the overall season rankings of running backs. And Jonathan Taylor, 50 points ahead of Austin Eckler for the year, which is just a mind-boggling number.
Eckler, one of many people to go off. Well, we started with the Jonathan Taylor eating crow. Now it's time for me to just eat it. Jalen Hurts. I said he wasn't a viable fantasy quarterback. And what happened yesterday, not just to, like, I've admitted I was wrong. He was top 5. He was number 3 going into yesterday. Now he's number 1.
Tom Brady doesn't play tonight. But yes, it looks pretty strong that Jalen Hurts is going to.
But it's like it was almost symbolic because he just shoved it up my team's ass.
Yeah.
And it's like one thing for me to be wrong. And then the Saints, that game got billed in Saints-Eagles. Saints #1 rush defense against the Eagles rushing attack, which is, come on, very strong in the last 4 weeks. Eagles 242 yards rushing. Jalen Hurts 69 yards rushing, 3 more rushing touchdowns to give him 8 on the season. He has 13 passing, 8 rushing. Oh yeah, he's QB1 before Brady's game tonight.
Yep.
And I just immediately ate it right after. I wrote a blog about it. Couldn't have been more wrong. And Nick Sirianni, what the hell were the Eagles doing the first 4 or 5 weeks not designing the rushing attack around him? They had Hurts just dropping back to pass all the time, and they retooled their offense as they should have around his running abilities and RPO abilities and setting up easy throws, and all of a sudden the Eagles look like a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his stats, 147 yards passing, so not necessarily getting it done through the air, but
doesn't have to.
18 carries, significant, and in the red zone too. So yeah, from a fantasy perspective value, he offers that super safe floor. I mean, if your quarterback is getting double-digit carries and red zone carries, it almost, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but everything else is just gravy on top because that is kind of like a very high RB2 getting double-digit carries and goal line carries. So
I mean, eight rushing touchdowns now. I mean, in 11 games, could be looking at 11 or 12 this season.
Yeah.
And just got to eat it on that front. And Miles Sanders came back, played well, almost had 100 yards, busted a couple of long ones. Eagles are rolling. Obviously, Saints. It's one of those things where I talked a lot of another thing to eat while we're at it with Shay. I knew to enjoy the Halloween game against the Bucs because there was some real concern when Winston went down. But now that Kamara's out, I mean, look what's out there. They're out like
quick turnaround too. So you guys are playing
and
Buffalo.
They're playing a pissed off Buffalo too.
A reeling Buffalo team. Both teams are reeling.
Oh yeah, but the Bills, you could see a lot better path to turning it around. The Saints, without Jameis Winston, Alvin Kamara, Mike Thomas, they're starting 2 tackles and guard right now. The offense is times are rough. They're going to get some guys back here soon on the line, but not good times. 5-5. Just hoping they can get to 9-8 somehow and maybe sneak into that wild card. It's about all you can hope for. So the NFC South not going to run through New Orleans anymore, unfortunately. It doesn't look like.
Oh, okay. So we have an admission. I mean,
what can I say, dude? They lose 3 in a row with Trevor Simeon's out there. I mean, hell, what are you going to do? I mean, if the Bucs were playing without Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, and Mike Evans, they'd probably be having trouble too.
I'm not going to kick you when you're down, and I'm not going to mention that Michael Thomas hasn't been playing for a very long time. I won't mention that.
But he hopefully was going to be back by now. You would have thought,
right? I want to talk about. I don't want to say like a similar quarterback to Jalen Hurts, but a quarterback that has been getting a lot of carries, or I don't want to say has been, but like in history has been getting a lot of carries, but also performed yesterday in a tough spot, and that's Cam Newton.
Yes.
So we talked last week how he would be kind of a strong QB2. He finished the week QB4. Again, Tom Brady, Daniel Jones have not played tonight as we're taping this, but right now he is QB4, 26.16 fantasy points in standard quarterback scoring leagues, 4-point passing touchdowns. But just an incredible game. I mean, 189 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns. 10 carries, 46 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. We saw what they could kind of do with him. I mean, we always know that Cam can run and can, score, especially around the goal line due to his size and speed. But yesterday, I thought we saw something very interesting on the first touchdown pass. Was he almost faked a quarterback draw and then just threw it over the defender's head, which is
to DJ Moore.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be able to do that, it's actually a very dangerous weapon because you have to respect Cam Newton running the football because he's, 240, 250 pounds.
No, and he looks like a very, very viable, solid QB2. The question is he going to even be a low-end QB1 in Joe Brady's offense? Christian McCaffrey being back. And Shay, you nailed the McCaffrey over 47.5 receiving yards. He had 7 catches.
It looked in doubt for a little bit. He had 10 receiving yards in the first half, but came through.
7 for 60. But all of a sudden, when McCaffrey's in there, that's a completely different offense. And look, DJ Moore stepping up. When Cam was around at the end, they were really low on wide receiver weapons because Kelvin Benjamin and Funches were such busts.
Yep.
And, having DJ Moore, look, I like Joe Brady. I know it went bad with Darnold. I think Cam looks pretty viable.
Yeah.
I do. And what a game that was, too. How about that win for Ron Rivera and the football team? That was a great game.
Yeah. Taylor Heineke showing out for the second week in a row. Everyone was so down on him. It's like, all right, is Fitz going back? Is he going to be the starter?
The younger Fitz is there. They're like the same.
Yeah.
They're just like, they could get hot. They're inconsistent. I feel like Heineke is like a perfect young Fitzpatrick, doing like a young Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. It's very impressive showing by the football team, because all the momentum, when we saw all the viral clips of Cam Newton coming out of the tunnel for the first time, crowd going crazy, Cam going crazy, and then they drive it right down, they score a touchdown immediately,
and then Cam run into the 50, the celebration. That was a moment.
I don't know if I like that.
Cam's always Cam. Say what you will about Cam, he's very, he loves the attention.
It was his home field, but it was very reminiscent of T.O. running out to midfield and spiking the ball, and then Darren Woodson on the second time, like laying him out.
Well, Cam with them not winning that game.
I think Cam has so much respect across the league. I don't think that would ever really happen to him, especially it's his first home game back in Carolina, so understandable. I didn't love it, but it's within the new taunting rules. He didn't do it at anyone. It was more, a personal thing. Which
you could celebrate like crazy, but don't taunt.
Don't look at anybody.
Well, before we go down that road, I want to talk about the strongest, most advanced Chevrolet Silverado ever. Most dependable truck in the game. Just like when Christian McCaffrey's out there, if he starts, he's the most dependable in fantasy.
Yes.
Big if, though. I feel like the Chevrolet Silverado's been a little more dependable this year.
It's Jonathan Taylor.
Football season's in full swing. It's time to up your tailgating game. A strong football season calls for the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Fall means football and tailgating, and it's time to up your tailgating game with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. The available multi-flex tailgate with 6 convenient configurations will give you a step up on your tailgate game. There's the primary tailgate, which opens with a push of a button on the key fob or from inside the truck. The inner gate folds to a large step for easily getting in and out of the bed. There's an easy access configuration where the inner gate folds down, allowing you to reach farther into the bed. It could also become a desk or a surface for your tailgating meal. Chevrolet Silverado, modern and advanced with a ton of grit, a partner in getting things done. Silverado is strong and dependable as the people who drive them. Chevrolet Silverado, the most advanced and strongest Silverado ever.
Something I want to talk about that happened kind of late last night. The Chargers-Steelers game. Big time back and forth tilt. I think both of us were seeing the board pretty good. You had a Fantasy Football Factory parlay that got boosted. Looked nice. I rode with it. Looking promising. We were texting about it during the game. And then all of a sudden the wheels came off. So it was Justin Herbert over passing yards, which he smashed.
Yeah, it was 277.5. Really not even a doubt.
Austin Eckler, very fishy receiving line.
I couldn't believe it was only 32.5 when I saw it. I was like, it should be in mid-40s, I think, for Eckler at this point.
He smashed that. Incredible game by him. But then the undoing, Chargers minus, was it 5.5?
5.5.
So look.
And if the Steelers would have taken the safety at the end too on the 4th and 31, which was something that was discussed on Twitter, like they're almost better off taking safety and onsiding at that point than they are on the 4th and 31 from your own 2. That was actually brought up on Twitter after the game. But yeah, I'm going to bitch for a minute. So my analysis of this game was literally, you can only, and I'm seeing it with the Saints too. In the NFL, you can only lose so many top guys. I mean, there's great coaching staffs. You do so much. Steelers, no TJ Watt, no Minka Fitzpatrick, no Joe Hayden. It was a great bounce back spot for Herbert. Loved all that. Big Ben was coming off COVID too. And the Chargers just beat the hell out of them for 3 quarters. But this is the Chargers. No team knows how to screw it up and let people back in games better. They had to punt it twice. And the second punt off offsetting penalties gets blocked. Steelers score. And then a ball gets tipped up and Cam Sutton gets interception. I mean, it was 27-10 Chargers. It was 34-20 Chargers. Herbert went off. Eckler went off. I'm furious, guys. I'm not going to lie. Shea got screwed on the Green Bay, Arizona Thursday night game when Aaron Jones hit it and it got called back. Yeah. And then the Colts-Jets won. Michael Pittman misses it by 4 yards.
Yep.
And then what happened last night? I mean, these parlays aren't easy to hit. They're all over 5 to 8 to 1.
Yeah.
It's not like a straight bet. They're not easy to hit. You have to call the game script. We've had 3 game scripts out of the last 6 we've done called pretty much cold, and we've won none of them. And I'm furious because my bet felt so good all last night.
It did.
I mean, it was just I was so right on the Herbert bounce back. the Eckler thing, I just sound like I'm bitching because I am. I should have won. And Shay has dealt with this the last few weeks. I will say this. I know people always ask in sports, would you rather just get your ass kicked or would you rather barely lose? I'd rather barely lose because it makes me feel like at least I'm analyzing stuff good.
Yeah, I actually agree. Getting blown out just sucks like your whole game. Like, for example, yesterday I had a lot of parlays tied to Zeke Elliott. And he caught Zeke Elliott receiving yards was over 22.5. He caught a 2-yard pass and then immediately got his ankle rolled up on. So it's like, all right, well, like pretty much every one of my bets you can completely throw out. It's zero fun. It's over 10 minutes into the game. But at least if you get close, like I will never forget Aaron Jones' touchdown getting overturned.
Ever.
No, it was not fun and it was the worst feeling ever. But I will remember that. So yeah, I would rather have a memory than not. It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all.
Yeah, and also just for our pod, like all our great listeners, I mean, you can't blame, when we're giving good sweats like that, you know our bets are pretty good. You can't, there's no way. Somebody on Twitter said like, oh, I'm done riding with your parlay after last night. I was like, after that one? It's like, did you watch the game? I was like, man, there have been plenty of bad ones, but I don't see how you could abandon when we were that right. But that one was tough. We're going to keep firing at them. I mean, we literally could have hit 3 of the last 6 now, all at 5-1 plus. So, ifs and buts, I know, but we're going to keep firing at them. I feel like we're seeing the board pretty good.
I'm seeing the board very well.
And let's talk about your day yesterday.
On fire yesterday.
Let's mention Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, who I said could finish as the top running back yesterday. He didn't. Obviously, incredible performance from Jonathan Taylor. Austin Eckler, who Hank bet to score 3 touchdowns on, which is an incredible play.
Wow. What were the odds on that? Like 10-1?
1,500. Wow. 15-1.
Wow.
Joe Mixon, I tweeted this out. So my lock of the day was Christian McCaffrey over receiving yards, 47.5. That just seems so fishy. Like it was way too low for what he does, especially with Cam Newton being the starter. He doesn't know the whole full playbook. He's going to do a lot of dump offs. He's going to go to guys familiar with Christian McCaffrey.
It was too low last week, too, at Arizona. Yeah. I think there's like an adjustment in him coming off the injuries maybe or something, because usually they used to be really high.
Yeah, and with PJ Walker, he's getting the ball a ton. But either way, Christian McCaffrey, that was an easy one. But I tweeted out, that was my lock of the week, Christian McCaffrey over receiving. But I said, if you guys like bigger odds, I really do like Joe Mixon to have a huge game over his rushing total and 2 touchdowns, which was plus 800. Smashed it. I was getting a little bit worried towards the end, but then Joe Mixon hit the hole really hard, scored like a 25-yard touchdown to ice that one. And then I did a 2 more. I hit a plus 903, which was just a combination of all my favorite bets with Christian McCaffrey over receiving, Zeke over receiving.
You hit that one, hit late,
God he
too.
Came back. Yeah. Joe Mixon to score a touchdown, and then Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus 903 dinger. And then I didn't put this one out because I didn't want to interrupt the FFF parlay promo, but I hit a Sunday nighter too. I hit Justin Herbert over 1.5 touchdowns, Austin Eckler over receiving, which we talked about, and Najee Harris to score a touchdown. So I was just seeing the board like crazy. What
did that one pay?
Plus 440.
Nice.
So kid was rolling last night.
I like it. Well, you had you've been, what overall for the year, where are we on the data? I know you got creamed last week.
Oh, destroyed. I think I was down 30 units last week. Overall, plus 16 units on the year.
Solid.
Good. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Keep it up. I love I love the prop bets, though. I think that's one of the coolest things on the Barstool Sportsbook. The deep dives and how it ties in with fantasy.
We're talking, for listeners, we talk about this a little bit on Sunday morning. What's really tough if I can peel back the curtain a little bit, when we started this show this year, when we took over this show this year, one of the big focuses that we hoped was going to be we would put out the pod and we could talk about player props. Nobody's to blame for any of that because basically the whole industry deals with this, but player props typically are not available till later in the week. And what we've noticed is they're not available until really in full until Friday night, Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. So it's really tough to put something out in that time and to be fresh for 24 hours, 36 hours.
Well, yeah, and you also lose it on Saturday with college football.
And then you lose the Thursday night, right. And then you also lose the Thursday night game. So we decided it would be more beneficial, more listens, more views, etc., to put something out to help with actual fantasy advice. But we are in discussions with potentially doing something a little bit later.
I feel like
Because, I love this. I love doing the player.
Yeah, and it's just also, we're one of the beauties of Barstool. We're transparent with you guys. I think that's the strength of this pod that makes it unique.
Yep.
Is the gamble nod stuff and your parlay stuff and your data skills. And I would love that. I mean, we'll see next year. We'll see on that. But we're going to continue to hammer the player props all year, and we'll also do some stuff for Thursday this week. We've got a quick turnaround this week, Mr. Shea.
Very quick turnaround.
Let's touch on Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Just the Cousins season, just over 300, 3 touchdowns yesterday. Thrilling win for the Vikings, 34-31. Justin Jefferson, 8 for 169 and 2 touchdowns. There's no rhyme or reason to anything with Cousins, man. I just, like we said yesterday on the pod, there was a Cousins or Carr question on Dear Mr. Fantasy, and I was like, well, I'm so jinxed on Cousins, I don't even know what to think. And you're like, okay, start him.
Yeah. So I liked Kirk Cousins a lot yesterday. He was one of my bets for over 1.5 touchdowns. I thought he was going to smash that. He ended up doing that. But we got that question, and you were just like, I don't really want to touch Kirk Cousins. And then when I said I'm really strong on Kirk Cousins, you're like, if I don't like him, maybe I should fade myself. Yeah. And you did, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So
I started him in the Barstool too.
Now you're doing the George Costanza, do the opposite.
Well, hey, look. Don't be afraid to fade yourself wearing that hoodie. But great game. And hey, I want to ask this too. Obviously, I'm a Louisiana guy. I've been a Justin Jefferson fan for a while. How good do you think he is?
Justin Jefferson's really good.
His route running as a rookie and his second year is so advanced.
Who would you rather have as a receiver to build your you don't build a franchise around a receiver, but if you had to pick one LSU receiver to do it, would you pick Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase has been on the steady decline the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's also a rookie though, and didn't play, and
I feel like I know the answer to this, but I just wanted to confirm.
I still go Chase. I mean, he just when they were playing together. I mean, as good as Jefferson was, Chase still just ever so slightly outshined him. Yep. I think he's overall the better receiver.
Well, and also where Che's going to say in the scouting and evaluating it, when you have that 6'5" guy that's out wide, that's a deep threat, they affect the game so much even when they don't catch the ball. Like Chase, defenses have to account for him over the top, that size, speed, freak thing. Even if Chase doesn't have a great game, that opens up Joe Mixon in the running game because safeties have to play back deep.
Yep.
It affects everything. And so he can affect the game even when he doesn't have as big a game. And, that's why you see in the NFL all the time, you see slot guys never get, even when they put up big numbers, they don't get paid the huge amounts like the 6'5" out wide freak guys do because they make defenses have to adjust so much.
Yep, I totally agree. Justin Jefferson's just playing great ball, and Jamar Chase, ever since the midseason outlook when we declared he would be a wide receiver 2 the rest of the year, has taken a pretty steep dip. Just wondering your guys' takes as LSU guys. But I also want to tell you guys about this. Black Friday deal. Go to barebottomclothing.com. You can get 25% off for a limited time. Bare Bottom is on a mission to make the most comfortable, made-to-last menswear around while giving back to the communities where the clothing is made. Comfy season is here. Stock your closet with comfort without paying the insane markups you see at other online and big box brands. You can feel good about wearing your bare bottoms because each time you purchase an item, a nutritious school meal is donated to a child in need. Everything is built for value. You'll get the softest, stretchiest clothes in the game for a great deal while doing some good in the process. For a limited time, Bare Bottom is giving you an incredibly soft tech tee, super comfortable. I love wearing the tech tees that they send us, or a natural dye tee for free when you spend $150. Again, their Black Friday sale has already started and is their biggest one yet. Now you can get up to 25% off site-wide. No promo code, no anything. Just go to barebottomclothing.com. That's BEAR, like the animal, bottomclothing.com. Their stuff is great. I love their joggers too.
I do too. They've sent us some stuff. Incredibly just comfortable.
Yep. Awesome stuff. Were there any surprises from week 11?
We got to talk about this dud in this Cowboys-Chiefs game. I mean, you over under 56.5 and a 19-9 final. And the big discussion, this Chiefs thing. Last week, everybody was declaring them done. Then they came out. Mahomes had the 406, 5 TDs. Was he back, or were the Raiders melting down with everything that's happened? It was somewhere in the middle. Well, I'll say one thing I know about the Chiefs. When Chris Jones is healthy, that's a damn different defense. Yeah. And he was out when they were struggling, and he is a complete game changer in the middle. However, 19 points, no touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes. Edwards-Helaire did make a little bit of a difference. I recommended playing him. He did all right. But, I mean, you look at the box score, it's all Hill and Kelsey catching almost everything again. You still don't have enough support from other weapons. And, they won the game. They're on it. All of a sudden, they've won 4 in a row.
Yep.
But it isn't because the Mahomes powder keg. It's
I mean, think about it. Like, their offensive line, 5 totally new guys going into the year. That doesn't just happen in September or even October. It's more of a later season thing. And we're seeing them come together. They're playing good ball, protecting Patrick Mahomes for the most part. And I mean, I don't want to say he's flourishing because it's not where I would say it used to be, but he's playing some good ball right now.
Oh, I mean, look, NFL is about wins and losses. They're in first for all the problems KC's had. They got great control of that division right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're half up game up on the Chargers, and they lost head-to-head. But considering everything they've gone through to be in first, you got to feel pretty good. Yeah. And the Raiders are, I mean, they're toast. I mean, they seem deader than fried chicken.
So the one bet that I was really tracking was maybe super hopeful about. I did an 8 player to score parlay. I hit 6 from the only ones that didn't hit were Zeke and Tyreek Hill. It would have been 10,000 to 1 or plus 10,000 rather. So 1,001.
I got some other stuff to mention. I want to.
Sorry, 101.
The Sunday stuff that was weird. Colt McCoy.
Yeah, he finished as I think
35 of 44 for over 300 yards.
The Seahawks stink.
They're 3-7.
They're toast. Shout out Kelly in Vegas, who predicted them on our show before the season that they would not make the playoffs.
Yes, she did.
That was certainly an interesting one. Elijah Moore, your guy.
That was a dynamic touchdown too.
I mean, is he a must-start wide receiver too?
I think we're getting there as long as he's getting the targets. The thing that's been weird for him was Zach Wilson crushed him beginning of the year.
Right.
And now, I mean, the Jets have played more quarterbacks than any team. I mean, it's just insane.
Joe Flacco wearing number 19 yesterday was weird.
That was a thing. But no, Elijah Moore stepping up. I'm glad to see it, man. Got me to Barstool.
His 4th straight double-digit game. So his last 4 games, 7 catches, 84 yards, 8 targets, 7 catches, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 targets, 3 catches, 44 yards and a touchdown, 11 targets, 8 catches, 141 yards and a touchdown. Sorry, those are the last 3 games. But I mean, absolutely killing it.
I'm going to say he's must start the rest of the way. And this is something you and I talked about before. Rookies, sometimes it take the second half of the year really come on strong. I remember with A.J. Brown, his rookie year, he led the NFL in receiving the last 6 weeks. I don't know if Elijah's going to quite do that, but I think he's must start. You got to ride the hot hand, and at least Jets fans have one thing to be excited about.
If you're in a keeper league, he is super valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Just because.
And he's a guy, too, that's going to catch in a PPR. He can catch a ton of balls if used correctly. I mean, he caught like 12 a game last year in Oxford.
One guy I want to talk about that didn't catch a ton of balls, but was very successful, Darnell Mooney. So let's go through a couple guys that are probably going to be on waivers. Darnell Mooney right now is owned in 58% of leagues, so he's available in 42% of leagues. 16 targets yesterday. 5 catches, 121 yards.
The thing with him is his game-breaking speed.
Yeah, we saw that in the wide receiver.
And then Justin Fields has bruised ribs, so it doesn't look too major. But they were quick turnaround. They have Thursday. They do play Detroit though, favorable matchup on the dome in the dome turf. I think Mooney. I mean, I feel like Dalton doesn't hurt him.
Yeah, no, it certainly gets the ball.
The biggest thing is Robinson being out. So now Mooney's number 1, getting that many targets.
Yeah, 16 targets.
I got one other one I want to mention, and that's the Bills' struggles in this Josh Allen thing.
They're 2 reeling teams. They're going to New Orleans on Sunday night.
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Thursday night, by the way, going to be streaming from the Hoboken house. Same time, Egg Bowl, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Saints Bills. I mean, the Egg Bowl is going to be the main one. But, man, it's going to be Thanksgiving.
Drew Brees is going to be, I don't know if he's in the booth or on set, but he's going to be in the building.
I wish he was. I was going to say, I wish the 10 years ago version was playing quarterback. I mean,
even last year's version, right now, he's going to be better than Trevor Siemian in that offense. No doubt about it.
Yeah, but if Brees was out there right now, I don't think that would solve all the problems.
Yeah,
to be transparent about what's going on in New Orleans. But Josh Allen, though, I mean, what are we? I feel like they're going to get it back together.
I hope so, man. I mean, if the Patriots end up winning not only the division, but just kind of cruising through the playoffs, that's going to
their first game is December 6th. It's soon.
Yeah, really soon. So I know the Bills are missing some starters in their offensive line, which certainly contributes to some of their struggles.
Stephon Diggs is playing better again.
Stephon Diggs playing better, yeah.
He's a saint. He caught the Minneapolis Miracle too. God, I got to see him this week.
Yeah, it's just they don't. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are like okay players. They're not like a reliable running. We can't compare them to Jonathan Taylor, but like even just kind of like an average running back, they're deficient in that area. It's just not as reliable. And we're seeing Josh Allen run the ball a lot. So yeah, the Bills are in a tough spot. Their pass rush though is better than last year. A lot of the rookies have kind of worked out. Gregory Rousseau, AJ Epinesa is playing a lot better.
The Miami dude's been awesome. Rousseau.
Yep.
Well, maybe if the Bills want to last longer and be more consistent, they should not think about playing inconsistent or baseball because that doesn't always work. The folks at Roman Swipes, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman Swipes, the secret to longer lasting sex. And the Bills need to start winning more and people will be getting laid more in Buffalo. I can assure you of that. Roman Swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast acting, but don't require a prescription. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipes packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're super easy to use. Just take the swipes out of the packet, swipe it on, let it dry, and you're good to go. That's it. So go to GetRoman.com/fantasy. You can get your first month of swipes for only $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/fantasy. $5 for one for each of Jonathan Taylor's touchdowns.
There you go. I actually had a back and forth with Ryan Whitney this week.
I did see that
on Friday, and he was bagging and he tagged advertisers, which ended up being fine, and we appreciate. But I had to throw out his Roman code for the people. A couple other guys I want to ask you about free agency wise. So we talked about Cam Newton. He's owned in 51% of leagues.
He's a must-add. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, I mean,
two quarterback league, I figured he'd be gobbled up.
Yeah, no, he will.
Is he a start in a 1-quarterback league?
I mean, I think it's matchup dependent, but they have a weaker schedule the next few weeks.
Yep, they do. They have a bye coming up, I think, in week 13.
I think the answer is yes if Christian McCaffrey's healthy.
Yep. Elijah Moore, 57% of leagues. Is he going to be your top? I figure he's going to be top waiver.
Yeah, because Flacco may keep going too.
Yeah. Darnell Mooney owned in 58% of leagues. Is he a guy you're picking up?
Yes. Because even if Dalton plays, it doesn't hurt the passing game.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 10 targets, 4 catches, 123 yards on a touchdown. It was a big one. Yeah.
I feel like Valdez-Scantling solid if you're playing daily fantasy and you need a home run guy for cheap that could bust it.
Yep.
But I just don't think week to week you're on him.
Here's one owned in 0% of leagues. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
Yeah, over 100 yards.
8 targets, 7 catches, 107 yards. We saw was it Michael Johnson, who's ahead of him, go down with a hamstring injury, which he had in preseason. Is he a guy that is a pickup?
I don't know. That game flow, Tannehill threw it over 50 times yesterday because they're playing from behind. And so, I mean, it's weird.
They're playing the Patriots.
No, it's weird in Tennessee because Julio Jones can't stay. I mean, if Julio Jones is out, you can play him. Yeah, well, I mean, that was obvious. But, I mean, they're down to, you look back at the last few years, they had like A.J. Brown, and he had 5 for 48, but he's been banged up. They missed Jonnu Smith too. I mean, he was a really good stretch the field tight end for him. I mean, Tennessee, obviously Derrick Henry's the most missed, but I don't know if I'd quite say pick him up because I think so much of it had to do with the fact they threw 53 times yesterday.
That's fair. All right. It is Thanksgiving week. Our office is closed Wednesday to Friday, which is incredible.
Yeah, today we're taping on Monday. Today's insane. Every Barstool shows today.
Yeah. But it's Thanksgiving week. So who are some players that you're thankful for this season?
All right. I got a few. I'm thankful for Najee Harris and Jamar Chase, who I went out on a limb for before the season, big, and they make me look not like an idiot. And so I'm thankful for both of those guys who I went to bat for super hard. And then I also want to say he was on a bye this week, But I'm very thankful for Cooper Kupp.
Oh, yeah, big time. Wide receiver 1 by a mile still. He's at 216.1 points and half-point PPR. The next closest is Tyreek Hill, who's a solid, quick math, 25.5 points behind him. So incredible performance from Cooper Kupp this entire year. I'm definitely thankful for him. He's our best take as a show by far.
Yeah, the prodigal son.
But also Cordell Patterson. So I said after week 2, must own. I think it was week 2 against the Falcons.
No, you did.
Against the Falcons. It might have been week 3. But he was 14% owned at the time. I said, this is a guy you absolutely have to pick up. Position versatility on Yahoo. He's a wide receiver and a running back. He is currently both. Or he just got edged out of the running back. But he was going into this week wide receiver 5 and running back 10. He just missed Thursday's game. So, dinged for not playing. Certainly is going to affect his overall points and total standings. But overall, the guy is lights out. Absolute must start every week, no matter what the matchup.
Oh, yeah. No, and especially on an Atlanta team that, you saw last week when he was out against the Patriots, they literally, him and Kyle Pitts are their only weapons. Period.
Yes.
Literally, they have 2.
Yeah. Also, thankful for James Conner. A guy who was very low in drafts. You could probably get him in the 7th, 8th round. James Conner, right now, he is at RB6, 159.8 points and half-point PPR. Incredible rise, especially now we're seeing Chase Edmonds get hurt, and he had that monster game, a couple weeks ago. But he's just been consistent as far as putting it in the paint. Yep. So those are the guys that I'm really thankful for.
You got to say you're thankful for Tom Brady.
Of course. I thought we were talking about okay, so yes.
That too.
Yes. Of course. Tom Brady, absolutely. Right now he's QB5. By the time he plays tonight, he'll probably be QB2 when all is said and done. After tonight through 11 weeks. So absolutely thankful for Tom Brady, for Mike Evans, for Chris Godwin, for Gronk, Giovanni Bernard, Leonard Fournette. Everybody.
There's a lot to be thankful for your Bucs fan right now. I hate to say it. AB. Oh, well, I'm glad we got you. Glad we got you on Halloween, so I got to see at least one positive. Okay, some stuff for this week. 3 games Thursday. We'll have some stuff out Thursday morning for you guys. Advice. And we'll have Dear Mr. Fantasy Sunday morning, like we always do. Want to just wish all our listeners a happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners. For Thursday, so there's Chicago at Detroit, Las Vegas at Dallas, Buffalo at New Orleans. Overall, Dallas is the marquee team in this group. They always play on Thanksgiving. Is there one matchup you're really looking forward to? Overall, Chicago-Detroit has almost no fantasy appeal outside of DeAndre Swift.
Cowboys-Raiders, I think we could have a really big bounce-back Dallas situation here. So. We saw that against Atlanta 2 weeks ago off that dud against Denver.
Yep.
I think the Raiders are just in free-fall mode right now. I think Dallas it's a great bounce-back, get-right game for them. Of course, I'm interested in seeing the Bills-Saints Thursday night because you got 2 reeling teams. Who's going to step up? I try to be optimistic, boys, but times are rough.
The fantasy appeal has been diminished greatly because Amari Cooper is out. He was unvaccinated, so he's out for 10 days basically. So he's out for Thursday. He missed Sunday's game. CeeDee Lamb got a concussion, so he's likely going to miss Thursday. So on Dallas,
Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard could have big games.
They were splitting Zeke Elliott out at wide receiver a lot yesterday after the injury. That's not what you want to see. Especially, as a guy who was betting on his receiving, he's not beating necessarily corners off the line. So I like seeing him in the backfield catching these dump offs a lot better than him being split out wide. Cedric Wilson was a guy I bet on yesterday as far as his over. He had a couple drops for sure, but he's going to be an option. Michael Gallup just came back, so he'll be wide receiver 1, I guess. Dalton Schultz is absolutely a play.
Oh, yeah, and he had a solid game yesterday, too.
Darren Waller also shout out.
Finally.
Bounce back.
One good thing from the Raiders yesterday, 7 for 116 with Waller.
Yeah, but other than that, Alvin Kamara, is he going to be back this week?
Man, I don't know. It's a knee injury, and it's on a shoot. Usually, you see how the NFL is. Usually, you hold out Thursday if you're out Sunday. That's kind of like a standard thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Saints are dead. Luckily, the one positive is that the wild card's muddled, but Vikings coming on now at 5-5, Niners coming on at 5-5, Eagles 5-6 have the tiebreaker over the Saints. Ain't no time like the present for New Orleans. You can't. They had the 5-2 start, but all that's gone now.
Yeah, Manny Sanders potential revenge game.
I mean, I feel like he was only there for a cup of coffee.
I know,
I don't. The Stephon Diggs Saints hatred is a thing.
Good. I'm with him. So who are some guys that you really like next week? Not only on Thursday, but throughout the whole slate.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Elijah Moore. We got an exciting Jets-Texans matchup. I mean, I think that's a game he could continue to go off. I don't see any real problem. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't do really well. I mentioned Zeke. I think Zeke Elliott, it's hard to play Pollard, but he's getting a good split. But I feel like, the Raiders' run defense has become so abysmal. You literally just almost kind of have to fade them. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Miles Sanders showed me something yesterday.
Yeah.
And him against the Giants, there's a chance he could come on. That's a high over-under of 46.5. I like Michael Pittman to have a good game against Tampa next week. I know that the Bills...
Terrible game yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, they ran. I mean, they just were up big and ran it down their throats. Wentz only threw for 106 yards.
Yep.
I think Tampa-Indy could be fun and get a little wild next week. The over-under is 51.5 early on it.
It'll be interesting to see if Vita Vea is back for that game, because if he is, that changes the whole dynamic. The Bucs still, even without him, are a very good run defense. How are they going to combat Jonathan Taylor? Is Quentin Nelson going to play? Should be an interesting game.
Yeah, I know that one's going to be fascinating. Some other games, the Rams-Packers. Rams-Packers is fascinating next weekend. Rams off a bye. They got a lot to prove after the way their last couple games went, too.
Yes. That should be. Green Bay looks like the class. I know they lost yesterday.
No, but that wasn't a bad loss. I mean, the way they fought back and everything. I mean,
yeah, the couple guys that I like for next week, we talked about Darnell Mooney, Darren Waller. I do like Micah Parsons could be on him, which should be interesting. Parsons is a good coverage player, but anytime you can get a non-corner in Darren Waller, I'm going to take that. Scordell Patterson. I like him next week.
Jacksonville.
Going against Jacksonville. And then we mentioned Elijah Moore. Those are my favorite guys. Next week, I'm sure I'm going to fall in love with some running back receiving totals by the weekend, but I will get those out. So make sure you're following me on Twitter. For those, I'll tweet out the bet slips. And it should be a fun week. This is the best matchups like throughout I think we've had in a very long time.
No, the matchups are great. And also, just on another note, are you a big Thanksgiving fan? Shea family gonna do a big?
I am a big Thanksgiving fan. I like it because it's a meal basically. It's an elongated meal, but it's a meal to get together with family, and then football's on all day. It's also no gifts, which I feel like is underrated. Christmas as a kid, very cool. Christmas as an adult is cool for your kids.
Stressful, yeah.
But like getting gifts for everybody, and it's just like, all right, like
you're up at 7 a.m. like.
Oh yeah.
Like even earlier, yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. But yeah, like I like it for my kids. I don't personally get a ton of enjoyment out of Christmas outside of that. So yeah, Thanksgiving is the day that it's the best holiday. Food, obviously.
Football, long week. I like that it's a Thursday and you get the week. The Thursday thing, getting the weekend off. Weird year for me, and then it's going to be like this forever. Well, not forever. Who knows? I mean, knock on wood. As long as I'm at Barstool, but the Egg Bowl is going to. I was hired literally off the Egg Bowl with Brandon.
Are you going to bring a fresh dozen to the stream?
Oh, man, I might just have to. If Ole Miss wins, I got a shirt I love for Black Friday. If Ole Miss wins, knock on wood, need that. But man, Egg Bowl Thursday night, excited for that. We'll be watching Saints Bills, but unfortunately don't get to make it home to see my family for Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna have to save it for Christmas. But you know what? I'm thankful to work at Barstool Sports, and if I have to sacrifice my Thanksgiving night to watch the Egg Bowl, then that's a first world problem if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
Hotty toddy. Gosh, already. I mean, big one this week.
And then the last thing I think that we're both the most thankful for, in addition to our incredible team with Marty, Richie, and Madeline, is the fans, the viewers, the listeners, everyone that interacts with us on Twitter about our fantasy football takes, even when they're wrong, is great. We appreciate you guys very much. And thanks for tuning in every week and making us part of your lives.
And we're also thankful for our good friends at Miller Lite.
Yes, absolutely.
For sponsoring us. We'll be back on Sunday with Dear Mr. Fantasy. Yep. I'm going to announce, I'm going to do something Thursday. Hadn't figured it out yet. And want to wish everybody safe and happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with your loved ones, some good food, and some football. What can you beat? Can't beat it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.